Trends. I'm going to talk about some even more dumb trends, or more trends, that I didn't talk about in my previous video on trends. Start off with, my friend told me there was a trend where you would boil water and pour it over your friends, which I find is absolutely ridiculously stupid. Who would even think about doing that? Like, if you pretended it was boiling, then poured it over, yeah, it's fine, because, it's not actually boiling. If it's really boiling water, that's really bad. Like, trends that can cause bodily harm, I don't really get those. Like, there's some trends where if you do it wrong, it can result in bodily harm. So, I'd say those are a bit of a grey zone for trends, and danger. Because, like, let's say skateboarding. Skateboarding is kind of a trend, there's a lot of video games, specifically Skate, and you can get hurt from that really easily. So trends where you can get hurt, but if you do it wrong, I think, like, if you do it wrong and get hurt, I think that's sort of your own fault. So, another trend, well, I can't really call this a trend, but if you play video games, or you keep up with stories, you'll know what Roblox is. Now, I'm not going to get into details of, all the bad things on it that, Roblox just isn't doing anything about, because I don't want to get in any controversy at all. So what I'm going to talk about is the most popular game on it at the moment, I believe, Steal a Brain Rot. Like, to me that just sounds ridiculous. I've played it once to try it. It was awful. Awful. Not to mention, it's a copy. Well, the ideas were sort of taken from Grow Garden, apparently. I don't know. But the cover, yeah, it was taken from Grow Garden. Which, if you don't know, Grow Garden is a game where you grow a garden. It sounds boring, but it's actually surprisingly fun. And, yeah, it's actually surprisingly fun. Back to Steal a Brain Rot. So the premise of Steal a Brain Rot is you buy brain rots. That's literally their term, brain rot. And then you can steal them from other people as well. You don't use real money to buy, though. If you play Roblox, you'll know that, but yeah, and the premise of it's just stupid, but the characters in it are even more stupid. There was one, I know it's been removed recently, Tong Sahar. Like, it's a wooden stick with a bat. How is that funny? See, I don't get that. Another trend / meme I want to talk about is 6'7", whatever that means. Apparently it's from a song, and then people would take it and put it into edits of basketball players who are 6'7". But, yeah. I mean, I do it sometimes because it can be funny sometimes if your friends are like, oh, my sister's 6 years old, and you just think 6'7". But half the time it's not. Like, my teacher we were doing a question on math, and we were doing ratio, and one of the questions was if, let's just say, Sammy has 300 quid. This is not the question, by the way. And he shares it between two of his friends, not counting himself, so he gets no money. And the ratio is 6 to 7. How much money will they each get? And the first thing I heard was 6'7", 6'7", 6'7". So, yeah. And, like, even today, I was in assembly, and the teacher said something to do with, she said, like, oh, this can take up to 6 or 7 months. And from literally, like, 5 seats across from me, I hear this, 6'7", 6'7". I also want to talk about game creators, not just on Roblox, but in general, stealing other people's ideas. Like, if you search up Minecraft on a device that can't support Minecraft, whichever device that would be, then I guarantee you'll see, like, 500 copies, which is just ridiculous. So, yeah, people stealing games is just, no, I can't go with that. Like, morally, no, because it's someone else's work that you just, going, ooh, that can make me some money. Mine. Some other trends are have you seen, if you do watching fishing videos, then you've surely seen Team Fisherman. We're posting like quality fish releases or something, and one of the videos was a guy went to release his fish, he chucked it, went flying down because it was on a bit of a pier, smacked into a wooden pole and just exploded, and he used that sound. I believe most other videos use that sound as well. So I just find that sort of not offensive, but you know what I mean, like, it's not something you should do. And another, sorry to any musicians if they watch this, but whenever I see a video that says, play this in reverse and tell us what song you hear, I've seen so many music videos like that, and it is so annoying, because I'm like, oh, a music video, let's see what's going to be, and then I hear this, put this in reverse and tell us what song you hear. I'm just like, no. And I've never done it, but I guarantee it'll be just like the same song but reversed. But you'll be implied to think, oh, it's a different song. And somewhat along the line of stealing, well, this is plain stealing. When people, there used to be a trend called the devious lick, where you would, take things, like, you'd go into a shop and you just sort of smuggle things out. That is stealing. Wrong. You should not do that. Apparently there was one where someone just took a toilet from their school, apparently. However they did that, I'll have no idea. But then again, like, some trends, they could involve like pretending to steal, but then it turns out you're actually giving them something good. Yeah, that's fine. Fine. Perfectly fine. I see nothing wrong with that. It's just when you take it too far, like, if you say, oh, I'm robbing you, then you point a real knife to them, then when they give you all your money, you give them like twice their money in return. That's too far. That's too far. So, yeah, like I said, some trends are ridiculous, some trends are not. One last thing before I go, but there's the Ice Bucket Challenge trend, which used to be popular, I don't know, 2016, 2018, I don't really know. But then it came back recently, and it was for mental health, which, yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's just light-hearted. Although if you use freezing cold water, like, to the point where it'd freeze instantly, like, you don't want that to happen, especially if you do it in, like, Russia, like, northern Russia. That's really bad. Also, yeah, this is the last thing before I go, but while I was walking in here, I hear a crunch, look down, and I stepped on a snail. I'm so sorry.